Strategic planning. Now, we've already talked about it. Strategic planning is 3 years plus out. You don't have to be 100% accurate on your strategic plans because you can't. No matter what anybody says, you will not know what the future will be in 3 years. You'll have a good idea, though. You can actually pay attention to market. You can do some forecasting. We'll talk about that later. But the reality of it comes down to is you don't know. If you can sit down and have a strategic plan that is 80% correct, life is really good. I developed a big picture strategic plan and I projected it out 20 years, full well knowing that the plan wouldn't last 20 years because the world would change. Except for the fact I went back 12 years later after I left that part of the country. I went back 12 years later. They were still using the strategic plan. I felt pretty good about that. So there were some modifications to it, but I was over 90% of the plan was still in full aspect of what they're purchasing, how they're going about doing different things. So strategic planning, you can have good success, except for the fact don't anticipate 100% accuracy because you're not going to be able to make it. So strategic planning, part of it is you want to, first of all, build it off of 3 major statements. One is the mission statement. You need to say it with that kind of emphasis. What is our mission statement? You know, some people, I've even seen some of the private sector aspect of the mission statement where they printed the mission statement on the backside of their business card. That way the employees would always know what their mission is. It really is a simple statement of what is our reason for being. Now, just so you know, that changes between different industries. I am in the industry of higher education. With that, we talk too much. You might have noticed that because we have all these different pod classes going on. Okay, but the reality of it is that we tend to have multiple paragraphs for our mission statement. In the private sector, most mission statements are 1, 2, maybe 3 sentences long. From that, you have the reason for your existence, why you're there, and then what do you want to become? Not quite the same thing. One is the vision of what you want to become in days to come. And then the value statement, what values do you want to emphasize? I have to tell you, it's not all that common that all companies have all 3 of these statements. Many of them have a mission statement. A lot of them have a vision statement. The value statement, some of your bigger corporations have it because it's part of that big bureaucracy. But really, what values do you want to emphasize? That really speaks well of the organization where they've taken time out to identify it. Now, living all 3 is a different thing. I'm not certain that always happens. But an overview of this, for strategic planning, you want to pay attention to your long-term goals and determine your best approach to achieve them. You're going to have your mission statement, your vision statement. You're going to do a SWOT analysis. You're going to have strategic objectives. So let's go ahead and let's talk about them. Here's a mission statement from Procrastinators United. Our mission is to delay the inevitable with style and grace. We strive to put off until tomorrow what could be done today, ensuring that our team members have ample time to perfect the art of last-minute brilliance. Together, we aim to redefine productivity by proving that great things come to those who wait until the last minute. Yeah, it's a fun statement. It's actually a real statement, by the way. Okay, so Tesla it's so big, I had to reduce some of the aspects, but their corporate mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Whoa, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. Okay, their vision statement is to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. I have to tell you, they're pretty succinct. They're right to the point. You know where they're coming from. Sustainable energy, a transition from this to this, that is what they're about. Innovation, some of the statements they had, I took this right off their website. The innovation, they have an innovation statement, sustainability, quality. I had to cut them in half because they spend a lot of time talking about this. They're actually serious about having value statements on innovation. They place a lot of value in innovation as the company is always striving to be the leader in respective industries it operates in. And it went on with 2 more sentences. Sustainability. Tesla's electric vehicles are created with the planet. I'm not going to read all these to you, but I want you to understand that these are taken very seriously by an awful lot of people. And frankly, at Tesla, they take their value statements very seriously. They believe in it. One of the overriding arches, you might have heard it, is that their CEO is Elon Musk, and on the inside of the Hawthorne plant, they have huge on the wall at their rocket company and SpaceX. They have a big giant thing of the fact that they want to sit down and make the human species an interplanetary species with a big picture of Mars there. It's kind of a fun thing. So there, you walk in every single day, you know what they want to be doing. So some more on Tesla's speed. It's not about the speed of the car, but how fast. Tesla places a lot of importance on speed. If you go back and look historically, you will see that Tesla is one of the fastest companies to crank out the electric vehicles, and they're on the cutting edge in that process. Teamwork. They have strong teamwork. And they have some very oddball things. We'll talk a little bit about the aspect of Elon Musk's vision of how to deal with a meeting. He doesn't require people to stay at meetings if they don't feel they belong. It's a very different model. Responsibility, they make his commitment to employees, customers, shareholders, and the wider community at large very seriously. So they have value statements. So really, when it comes down to strategic planning, you need to have a mission statement. You need to have a vision statement. So here, define what they are. Make sure what's your purpose. What does the organization aspire to be in the future? Then conduct a SWOT analysis. Now, I touched on this briefly in the last chapter. We'll talk more about this shortly in this chapter, but you want to do an internal audit of your strengths and weaknesses. Now, typically, this happens from within the company. Sometimes you want to bring an outside consultant in to take a look-see, because people are not always honest with what their strengths and weaknesses are. So it depends where you're at and how much money you have to spend. But strengths and weaknesses, and then opportunities and threats, that way is a good time to spend money on a consultant, because they might be able to dive in deeper and make certain that they're getting the accurate facts, because sometimes people, just because we're human, can put blinders on and not see the fact that somebody is creeping up on you, and you might deny it nonstop. So a SWOT analysis, internal strengths and weaknesses, external opportunities, the opportunities and threats that are there. Set your strategic objectives, but you want specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. They call them SMART goals. So you have objectives, and then you take the objectives and you break them down into specific, measurable goals. And then develop action plans, things that you can hold people accountable to. Now, to be straight with you, I've run lots of meetings, and at the end of the meeting, I always make certain that we go over who is going to be doing what based upon the results in that meeting. Okay, so you'll be doing this over here, and you'll be doing this. Okay, what else? And I turn to my assistant, and she reads off exactly what I had over here. So we worked years on that aspect of it, making certain that we're all singing in the same page in the process, and that everybody's accountable. And then we send out minutes after the meetings, but we'll talk more about that later on. But I want to prime the pump, so to speak, in your mind as to where we're going. You want to hold people accountable if you're going to be a leader, and then check on them to make certain they do what they said they're going to be doing. On strategic planning, align the activities with the goals. Make certain the things you're doing are what you're supposed to be doing, and not having somebody go off and wander off and do their own thing. There should be no own thing. It should be everybody's thing. Focus, make certain the resources are allocated appropriately. By the way, resource allocation is a giant issue inside of every large organization and small organization. Adaptability, make sure you change to the environment, and then find a way to measure progress and success. Strategic planning, you got these 5 different things that you have to keep in mind. What is your mission, your purpose for being? What is your vision, what you want to become? What you value as an organization? Take those 3 things and then start breaking them down into big picture objectives, what you plan on doing, and goals for the future, so you two can sit down and look out to the future and then accomplish what you set out to planning, because your planning should be your tool to make decisions from 3 years out, 1 to 3 years for tactical planning, and then operational planning, what you're doing this week. Take care.